called the demon of weaknesses in our mind. If you want to know the Buddhist terminology for that, it's kilesa.
Panna is widely known as liquid refreshment.
Right after meditation, I would like to say we should not move right away.
I trusted this great feeling to see if there is a monk that can teach me.
Up and continue to lift, arm all the way up.
Sawadee-ka. Welcome back to Meditation for All. I'm Chananporn Rotjan and I will be your host for today. This week, Reverend Nicholas Thanisaro will explain to us how we can take our mind back to its natural state of existence. We'll also learn how to handle the main obstacles that come our way and how to achieve a happy mind. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our mini-series on meditation and self-development. Last week we've already looked at how to measure ourselves up in terms of 6 personal qualities, which will be the factors which allow us to know whether it would be better to tackle a problem in our personal development or problems in the world around us, or whether it would be better to be patient about it. This week we're going to go a little further in learning how this clear vision about our self-development can help us to overcome some of what we call demons, which can otherwise intervene in our efforts to develop ourselves. If you go to sea, it's said that you have to be prepared to encounter high waves and storms. And in the same way, even if we have a clear vision of our own self-development, sometimes once we get down to the work of improving ourselves, we may find that there are many obstacles which will come in the way of our success. If we are not prepared, or if we don't know what to expect, then sometimes these obstacles can seem like a big or unsurmountable problem in our meditation development. But if we know something more about the nature of these problems, sometimes we can be better prepared. And this is why today we're going to look at what we call 5 demons, which tend to crop up as we make progress in our course of our meditation development. In fact, these demons are originating from weaknesses which we have in ourselves and others. They're the same weaknesses in effect that we are trying to overcome in the course of our self-development. There are weaknesses in our own human makeup, such as weaknesses of the psyche, things like the inability to take fair decisions, or maybe our inability to resist temptation in certain cases, that of perhaps money or fame. And of course there are the weaknesses of our own body, and there's the weaknesses which we find in others around us. We have big expectations of other people, but sometimes we find that we are unable to face up to the untrustworthiness of others, or sometimes we find that we are disappointed when we try to deal with the weaknesses of other people. Also, there are weaknesses in society. We find that in society around us there are many people who like to make profit out of the suffering of others. Things like drug addicts or pests or even alcoholics in society. Sometimes it's difficult to know how to overcome these sort of problems when we are trying to improve our own self-development. But the best thing we can do in the start is to be able to recognize these faults and to know something about the way in which we can protect ourselves from these. Well, let's look first of all at what we actually mean by these 5 demons. And the first demon is what we call the demon of weaknesses in our mind. If you want to know the Buddhist terminology for that, it's kilesa mara. These are the defilements or habits in our own mind which are not good ones. The second of the maras, or the demons, is what we call the weaknesses of the body. And this, in Buddhist terminology, is called khandha mara. This means the faults in the hardware of our body and mind that get in the way of the pursuit of our good deeds. The third one is our own reputation or personal past. In Buddhist terminology, this is called abhisankhara mara. And these are some of the bad things we may have in our past, which will spoil our reputation in the present time. The fourth sort of demon is the others around us who may be annoying to us when we are trying to do the work of our self-development. In Buddhist terminology, these are known as the Deva Putta Maras. And last but not least, a very important demon, which is the demon of death itself, or the fear of death, which is known as Majju Mara in Buddhist terminology. So there are these 5 sort of shadows which follow us around everywhere. Whether we try to attempt personal self-development or not, doesn't make a difference to whether we have these maras, because they're going to follow us around anyway. But normally they only show themselves when we come to making an attempt to improve on ourselves. So if you want to prepare yourself for the appearance of these maras, let's look first of all at what they are, and then perhaps see how we can deal with them. The weaknesses of the mind, the first sort of demon, are the images which go through the mind, especially the ones before we do a task or say something aloud. And these images can be affected by what we call kilesa, or defilements in the mind. These are the real demons which are hidden away in our mind, and they tend to belong to 3 different families. 3 families which in fact we've met earlier on in this mini-series, those of greed, hatred and delusion. You may think that these are developed as a result of our society, but they can even be seen in the smallest of babies who, when they're born into the world, they are bawling with greed or anger, or they have ignorance about the world around them. It's something which we bring with us, unfortunately, into the world. But unless we do something about it, then we cannot uproot these defilements, and we suffer increasingly from the influence of these things on our things we say and the things that we do. Mostly, when we are dealing with them, we have to remember that they express themselves in 2 ways. Firstly, in the decisions which we make, and if we find that we are making biased decisions as a result of the kilesa mara in our mind, then we need to have some standards for making our decisions which will keep our decisions on the straight and narrow. That's something which we're going to be looking a little more at next week. The other sort of way in which defilements tend to express themselves is in the form of temptations. And if we find that we still succumb to temptations to do things which are not actually wholesome or compatible with our self-development, then we do need to develop a little more of the patience which we mentioned last time round. The second sort of demon which we may come across is the demon of the weaknesses of our body, or the Khandha Mara. We may think, for as long as we are healthy, that such a demon doesn't exist for us, but just wait until you get into your old age and you'll start to appreciate some of the weaknesses which you do have built into your body. Even listening to this Meditation for All program relies on many things, like having a good sense of hearing and the health to sit up straight and to be attentive. But if even the hardware of your body is affected by your health, then even your attempt to do something good on this occasion by supplementing your knowledge about meditation may be interfered with if you have limits according to the Khandha Mara in your own body or mind. This will particularly affect you if you have diseases which you are confronting. They seriously weaken your ability to be able to do good deeds in your life. So we can reduce our tendency for these to some extent, not to the whole extent I'm sure, because we can avoid old age, but we can especially prevent some of the diseases which tend to occur when we go out looking for diseases to inflict ourselves with. And this is particularly the case when people tend to break what we call the 5 precepts by getting involved in aggression or harming others, stealing or committing acts of promiscuity, or even telling lies and drinking alcohol. I think in the modern day world we all agree that these are ways in which we do undermine our own health. So if we can maintain the 5 precepts, then this is one particularly good way of undermining the strength of the Khandha Mara, which would otherwise destroy our health. The other thing which is useful to avoid is what we call the roads to ruin. And the roads to ruin also include alcohol, but there are another 5 of these, which are those who tend to enjoy the nightlife, especially frequenting the ladies of the night, those who tend to become so addicted to entertainment that they do nothing else all their life, those who are gamblers, those who tend to associate with evil friends, and also those who are too lazy to work. These are 6 factors which we call the roads to ruin, which if you do succumb to these, then again you tend to undermine your own health in many ways, undermine your own ability to do as many good deeds in your life as you might like to. A third sort of Mara which we often come across, something which we have accumulated for ourselves in the past, is that of our reputation. Many items of goodness which we can do in the world, especially if we're going to encourage others to do according to our example, rely on the fact that we have a good reputation. Once you've spoiled your reputation, then sometimes it's a lot harder to be able to convince others to follow our example. But unfortunately, if you have a black spot in your past, this tends to come creeping back immediately. You try to encourage other people to do good deeds. Ask what you can do about it. Well, there's not much you can do about it later once your reputation is spoiled, apart from trying to make a better reputation for yourself in the future. But if you know that, then you must guard your reputation with great fervor to try to make sure that you can be a model for others to follow in all respects. One thing which particularly affects this is the way you earn your livelihood. If you earn your livelihood in a way which is scrupulous, then that will do a lot to improve on your reputation. But also there are certain livelihoods which you should try to avoid if you want to protect your reputation, things such as the selling of weapons, the selling of people, slaves, or even the flesh trade, as it's called, for in the case of things like prostitution, selling things like animals to the abattoir. Even if you don't kill them yourself, but you're selling animals to the abattoir, then you will spoil your reputation as a humane person. Selling alcohol and also selling poisons. Again, these would undermine our reputation as a humane person. So if we can take care of the sort of livelihood which we follow, this is one thing which will contribute to our better reputation. The fourth sort of Mara or demon which we tend to come across is actually the demons personified, which means that the people we are talking about are actually not inside us at all, but they're coming from other people. This is, for example, when you're trying to sit down and meditate in the evening and you hear the sound of a motorcycle going past with the silencer removed, or when you hear the drunk next door shouting and singing when you prefer to be doing your meditation practice, then these are examples of Deva Bhuta Maras who are coming to undermine your efforts to do good deeds. If you ask yourself whether you ever did this to others in the past, then the answer is certainly yes, because if you hadn't done it to them in the past, surely they wouldn't do it to you. But if you would like to improve this situation, it only emphasizes the need for us to reach out to others with our personal practice of self-development so that others may be inspired by our example. It's no good doing good deeds in a vacuum if you don't encourage other people to do them as well. Otherwise, one day, your bad environment will tend to catch up with you. This is why we will come to the factor of social skills and integration in doing our good deeds. It's necessary to be a good friend to others, to encourage them to do good deeds as well, if you really want peace and quiet, for example, when you want to do your meditation. Last but not least is death itself. Death does tend to cut us off in our tracks when we want to do good deeds. Our human life is very valuable to us when it comes to doing good deeds, but if we are cut off in our tracks, maybe by curtailed lifespan, then that is something which we really cannot do anything much about, apart from making sure that we're not so reckless that our life is cut off in its tracks before it's due to do so. But one thing which can be even more frightening from the point of view of death is that some people are so afraid of dying that the fear itself prevents them from doing as many good deeds as they might normally do. We can sometimes meet up with this when we are meditating. We may find things coming up in our meditation which do frighten us so much that they scare us off making any more progress. You hear some people exaggerating. They would say, oh, I feel so many aches and pains that I'd meditate to the death, or I feel so as if I'm dicing with death when I'm meditating. Such complaints indicate that people are not only afraid of death, but they are afraid even of the possibility of death. So if we can overcome that, then at the same time we'll be able to overcome this fifth of the Maras, which is the Mara of death itself. So these are Maras which we may come across in the course of our doing good deeds. One thing which many people tend to do when they try to do good deeds and they don't succeed is to point the finger at other people, try to put all the faults on other people instead of taking responsibility for those faults themselves. But one thing which we do find and which we can learn from these 5 Maras is that every time we point the finger at someone else, we find that there are another 4 fingers which are pointing straight back at ourselves. This is exactly the same case as with the 5 Maras. There's only one of the Maras which really comes from other people, and that is the Deva Bhuta Maras. The other 4 of the 5 Maras all come from ourselves in one way or another. So next time we come across obstacles in our meditation or in our practice of self-development, before we go finding fault with other people, we ought to be looking at the faults in ourselves first, because 80% of the possible obstacles to our self-development do come from ourselves. So, this week we've taken a look at the 5 demons, which we are sure to encounter every time we make the attempt to do good deeds. Hopefully, if we can identify them and put a name to them, then we will not be so easily discouraged when we meet up with them in the course of our self-development. So next time, we're going to be looking at some of the meanings of the word moderation when it comes to our self-development. In the meantime, keep up your meditation practice. Hopefully you won't be meeting up with too many of those demons during the week, and I'll see you again in 7 days.
Thank you, Reverend Nicholas, for that very helpful teaching. As you can see, most of the obstacles that prevent us from being happy is from within our own mind. Next on Buddhist Culture, you will learn more about Pana.
Pana is widely known as liquid refreshment, but in some cases, it can also be applied to chewing substances, such as candy, chocolate, cheese, as a result of modern advances in technology used to make candy and chocolate. In the past, the eating of chunk cheese as afternoon pana was also discovered. In areas where the weather is very cold, chunk cheese is offered to monks to help them keep their warmth. Sometimes, this pana is given to young monks and novices as chewing refreshment, considering that it brings no harm to their health, as otherwise might be the case for the elderly. In Southeast Asia, monks are frequently seen using fresh or sweetened tamarind and emblic fruit, or Indian gooseberry, all also allowed by the Lord Buddha as another form of pana. They are both refreshing and also have a light digestive quality. Thus, they are popular among elderly monks on their journeys to remote areas. Monks and novices are considered the strength of Buddhism, as they are the ones who pass down the true teaching of peace and happiness to all. conservation of energy for sustainability. Lay people also play a supporting role in taking the responsibility of offering Pana to the monks. They learn how to be mindful through the preparation of this delicate gift. The merit gained by performing this deed is immense, because during the night, monks must do their prayers and study the Pali language for a clear understanding of Buddha's teachings, in order to preserve and pass it down to us.
A display of generosity can be seen throughout the Kingdom of Thailand. Also, offering meal to monks is often seen in Thailand. It teaches us generosity, gratitude, and the importance of preserving the teachings of the Lord Buddha. Reverend Somsak Piyasiro will now lead a meditation session in order for us to spread our loving kindness to all. Let's join him.
This is Meditation for All. Welcome back to the class. This is session 3 of part 2. If you can remember, last time we talked about what we should do before practicing meditation. But this time, I would like to introduce some techniques of what we should do right after meditation. Because the feelings after meditation are also very, very important to your life. Right after meditation, I would like to say we should not move right away, but we should let the feeling of being with the inner peace inside to remain for a few more moments. We should not do some active activities right away. Let peace prevail in the moment of life for some time. It is important about the absorption of the feelings. The absorption of the feelings mainly will be through the ears and the eyes. For example, if you watch movies through the eyes or listen to the music through the ears, the feelings will get absorbed into the mind, and this will obstruct the feeling of peacefulness to blossom in the heart of your mind. So before and after meditation, we have to be careful not to be so aggressive. Aggressive manner or aggression will block serenity or peace inside to come out to your personality. And at the same time, it prevents others to see your inner serenity, inner beauty of your inside. So before and after meditation, we should remain focused very well in the center of the body. By now, we should be ready for meditation. Remember, a glass or a cup of lukewarm water. It is a good drink before we begin practicing meditation. And if you are ready for meditation, let's start it now. If you are ready, slowly close the eyes. Gently let the eyelids just about to be closed. Let the softness around the eyes radiate to all other parts of the body. Relax every part of the body. Relax them all so well, from the head down to the heels. Let go all the tensions all around. Examine the entire body in order to make sure that every single part is tension-free. Imagine as if the entire body is soaked up in the stream of relaxation. Relax again and again, all over. And we can take a good deep breath. Allow the soft air enter the body, deep down to the turning point, as we have known so well. The turning point is the point where the in-breath has turned to be the out-breath. We also call this the station of peace. The mind focuses at this turning point. Let the vision of a round crystal ball, bright, clean and clear, to turn up at the center of the body, or at the turning point anyway. We shall not use force to make the shape of the crystal ball so sharp. We just allow the vision of the crystal ball just to appear right here in the center of the body. Allow the vision to take place softly. From time to time, the image, the picture of the sphere form may come and go. If we don't mind if they go, we just stay calm, peaceful right here. The vision will just come back from time to time. So we shall not apply any force of any kind at any extent. Remain quiet, peaceful over here. In the Oriental world, Oriental philosophy, we believe in the center of the body, this is the origin of life. The origin of life starts with a sphere form right at the center. A sphere form is always bright, clean, and clear. We call this the seed of life. The seed of life resembles the crystal ball, a tiny one residing secretly in the center of the body. Every life begins from here. Also, in the Oriental philosophy, the real self exists inside. The real self is not a theory, it is not a feeling, it is not a dream. But by means of meditation, anyone, including you, yourself, is able to discover, to find your real self over here. Without meditation, nobody could discover his or her real self. Thanks to the meditation of the Oriental practice, we can learn, we can practice, we can begin to get in touch with our real self inside. Make sure relaxation prevails in our feeling all the time. Relax always. Stay right in the center at this station of peace, always. And if we want to share peace inside to the world, it is possible, as easy as a click. We can expand, enlarge the tiny crystal ball inside in all directions. A small sphere of crystal ball can become a bigger sphere, expanding softly but powerful, expanding bigger and bigger until it can wrap up the whole body of ours. In case we want to share inner peace to the world, let's expand this sphere limitlessly. Expand it out, away, far and endless to share peace to the world. Remember at the beginning of this session, after meditation, it is recommended that we remain quiet and peaceful over the center. Keep yourself wrapped up inside for a few moments. Don't stand up right away. Don't walk out right away. Remain appreciating the inner peace we have created by ourselves by means of meditation. And if the time is about to be up, gently open up very softly. open up softly. Enjoy the moments with your own insight for a while. Welcome to the world of benefits from meditation. Enjoy meditation with your own selves until we meet next time. Be a good practitioner of meditation. See you later. Goodbye.
We will now hear a story about a mother and a writer who thought that money was everything in life. But then after she was introduced to meditation, she found that her life had dramatically changed. She learned to put happiness before money and is now living a much healthier and much happier life. Let's now hear from Elsbeth Maurer.
สวัสดีค่ะ My name is Elsbeth Maurer. I'm born in Switzerland. My first profession was a secretary and I worked in the travel business. Later I managed a hotel and this was the first job that I really suffered from stress. I worked about 70 hours weekly, which was just too much. So I got slimmer and slimmer and the stress was bigger and bigger. But I didn't know how to resolve that and I thought this is normal, it's like the symptoms of burnout. At that time I had the chance of one friend that brought me a book that the meaning of the book was How to Get Rich. And in this book, they talked about the mind and that the mind is very powerful. So I made an instant decision that this will become my second profession. I want to study how the mind is working. So my approach was from the Western world to see what is the subconscious, what is the unconscious, and what is the conscious mind. So by that, I had the first concept of how powerful our minds are. And I had always one question in mind. How come that some people are rich and some people are poor? And why do people behave in different ways in the same situation? I went on in the studies and I learned about hypnosis, which would explain deeper levels of the mind, and I became a practitioner. Later, I learned NLP, neuro-linguistics programming, which is also a way of learning how the mind is working. I was about 30 years old when I met the father of my daughter Joy. At that time, my main job was to be a CEO of an import and export jewelry company in Switzerland. And this was where I made my money. And on the weekends and all in my holidays, I studied about deeper what is the mind and how we can solve problems. And when I got pregnant, I had additional to what I already worked, I took on another job. I was responsible to hire about 30 people for a grand reopening of a 5-star hotel that the father of my daughter and myself, we have become the owners. And the stress level together with the pregnancy and all the accumulated stress of the previous years was so big that I almost fall asleep every minute that I would sit down. So the father of Joy suggested me to start meditation. He already meditated about for 10 years and he knew the deep effect of meditation. And so when I started meditation, I hoped and trust that I will have immediate result for my stress and burnout syndromes. But actually it turned out that it was the other effect. I became even more tired. But the person that guided me to learn this meditation technique, he told me, please have patience and keep going. As first you have to release the stress. And one way to release the stress is by sleeping. So give yourself the time to rest and for sure meditate every day. So this both together will help you. And for sure, after a few weeks and few months, it will get better, but only the progress was very slow. This was in the year 1992, when I then gave birth to my daughter. I kept meditating for another about 5 to 6 years, and I wanted to improve my meditation and searched to go to a retreat. And whenever I signed up for a retreat, for sure something will happen in my life, either with my daughter or with my business. I could not go. And one day I decided something is wrong, so I have to study myself to get deeper into my meditation and give myself more time every day so that I can improve myself. And in the year 2002, I decided to take my daughter, at the time she was 9 years old, to go on a trip to Asia to find a meditation master. I was very attracted to go to Thailand, and I searched for about 5 weeks all over Thailand and didn't have the chance to meet a monk that was able to teach meditation and to speak English enough to guide me. I was very sad on my trip back, and I stayed in Thailand, in Bangkok, and then I met a lady, and she told me that there is a temple that they master the meditation on very deep level. So she brought me to Wat Dhammakaya. About 1 month later, when there was the great funeral of Kunyai, I was very excited. I arrived on a Sunday, and I saw all these people that are walking into the temple, and I could almost not believe that all these people will come to sit down and meditate. And of course, at that time, it's just a few years ago, but many things changed until today. Nobody would guide me in English, but I was just happy enough to sit down with so many people and listening to the Thai, and I could feel how deep and warm it is inside, and I trusted this great feeling to see if there is a monk that can teach me. And sure enough, there was one monk that was able to give me and my daughter that was interested to follow meditation instruction to meditate, and we signed up for 5 weeks from Monday to Friday. In these 5 weeks, my inner experience expanded so fast, and I felt the first time that maybe all these years, it was then already more than 10 years that I set for meditation, that all this was my base, that now I could develop and go very deep. And this gave me the courage to go on, and finally, instead of staying 5 days, we changed our plans and we stayed for about 10 weeks. My daughter Joy, she also started to meditation and had an amazing inside experience. So what I came to believe is that when we are building up on an everyday base our meditation, this has a very long-term effect. So if we are thinking that this is a short-term medicine, we go into the wrong way. Maybe a medicine can can give us a short-term effect. Meditation will very deeply build in us the energy, and we can build on that. And from what we know from many research and statistic, meditation helps us on such a deep level that actually we can revise the aging process. And when I look around here in the temple, just today at lunch I met a lady. She's more than 60 years old and she looks about 40, 45. So this is the most amazing effect that gives us to the human body. So this is one effect. And I know one country in Europe, when you can prove that you have been meditating every day for more than 10 years, they will reduce the health insurance for you. If you can prove you have more than 15 or 20 years, they will decrease the insurance to almost nothing. As they know, people that meditate, they hardly get sick. they have an inner strength that only can build up through the meditation. So this is one effect that is directly on the body. And then there is this amazing effect on our mind. And I think this is how I could then see my study that I did for over 10 years, what the mind is and how the mind works. I could combine my knowledge together with the meditation effect, with the deep inside experience, and also the knowledge that in the temple Dhammakaya is provided for us. I have never seen on my search, I can tell almost around the world, that so many people have knowledge and access to the true meaning of life. And this true meaning, in combination with the meditation, release so much stress. So if we in the Western world are open to study the meditation, and in the same time also how the mind is working and what kind of a lifestyle to apply. So these three things, I think this is my gift that I found. I call this is my amazing jewel that I found in this life, and I am happy to spread it around the world. I have many friends, and at this moment I am more than ever back in Switzerland, and I feel this is my home country, this is where I'm born. So I want to give a gift to Switzerland and to the Swiss people. That's why I'm no longer traveling so much, just to be more there. Or if I'm traveling mainly to here to the headquarters, so I can study more and learn more to bring this back to my team.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Maurer, for sharing your story. As you have just heard, the busier and more hectic your life gets, the more you need to meditate. Now let us go and exercise with Dr. Wishit Kittipongkoson and Ms. Vishuddha Sathalanan.
Sawadee ka. I bring you to the exercise for stress relief called Body and Mind Solution. And if you have tried it at home, you agree with me that it's perfect for both body and mind. And let's see Dr. Wishit. Sawadee ka, Hmao Wishit.
Sawadee ka, Kun Vishuddha krab.
Ka.
So today I would like to introduce the third posture of Body and Mind Solution. This posture is called to touch the sky.
I see.
It is very good posture. It's good to release stress from the muscle of arms and the muscle along the both sides of the back of the body.
I see.
And if you have seen Kasem Sukh movement,
Yes.
this posture is quite similar to the posture called Superman.
Oh, that one.
Because Kasem Sukh movement is modified from Body and Mind Solution posture.
Oh.
But if you practice, and you will realize that they are not exactly the same, because all the posture in the Body and Mind Solution, we have to move very slow along with the breathing exercise.
I see.
So now let's see the demonstration together.
With Nong Pin Prat.
Yes. Always start with breathing exercise. Put your hand on your body and take deep breath in. Take a deep breath in and slowly out. When you breathe in, follow your breath to touch the turning point of your breath and breathe out. The turning point of your breath is the station of your mind. Focus at the turning point of your breath when we practice the Body and Mind Solution posture. One more time. Take a deep breath in and slowly out to remind of the station of your mind at the center of the body. Next, put your hand at your side with your mind at the center. lift your arms up. When you reach the shoulder level, you start to lift your heels up and continue to lift arms all the way up. And slowly lower your arms down to the shoulder level, and then continue to lower your arms and lower your heel at the same time. One more time, lift your arms up and continue to lift your arm and lift your heels up. Stretch. Your mind still at the center. Then lower your arms. When you reach the shoulder level, start to lower your heel and your hands and your heel back to station. Take a deep breath in and out. Again, take a deep breath in and out to remind of the center of the body. One more time. Take a deep breath in and slowly out. And if you are in the place that allow you to continue to sit and meditate, let's do it. Since your whole body is now very relaxed, then continue to focus at the center of the body. Sit down, close your eyes, and meditate. This will be very beneficial for your body and your mind.
Oh, Dr. Rishit, just watching alone, I can feel the relief of the muscle, of arm muscle, and also the side of the body.
Yes, this posture is very good for the one who has a problem with the numbness on the fingertips. So it's also really beneficial to the nerve ending.
I see.
And with this posture, if one fully stretch and hold still for a period of time, it really helps to release the stress of both sides of the muscle along the backbone. And also help to release the pressure along the line of the backbone all the way to the coccyx area.
Oh, what is it? Coccyx?
Our coccyx area is the area at the lowest part of the backbone, near the bottom.
Oh, I see. So that is really good posture for the people with long period of sitting posture in a day, especially the working people in the office. That's really good for them.
Yes, but please keep in mind that we have to move very slow.
I see.
Along with breathing exercise to get the best benefit and also to feel the circulation.
Yes. So the most important thing is that to remind yourself at the turning point inside. Right? And that's it? Yes. We would like to say goodbye for today. สวัสดีค่ะ
ครับ
It is now time for me to say goodbye. If you have any questions or comments regarding the show, please do not hesitate to contact our email, meditationforall@hotmail.com. Goodbye for now. สวัสดีค่ะ